Well, of course, you got the Chiefs in New York taking on the Jets this Sunday. The Jets look like a dumpster fire, but I want to go and get the inside scoop on what's really going on there from the guy that I had a small privilege of working with here. I was a small part of what he did over an incredible 30-plus year career. In many ways, the godfather of sports talk radio, Mike Francesca, formerly of WFAN, now doing his own podcast, the Mike Francesca Podcast, joining us on KCMO. Mike, good morning. Thanks for joining us in Kansas City.
Pete, how are you, Pete?
We're doing well, Mike. We're doing well. So take me through what's going on there with gangrene since Aaron Rodgers went down. How bad has it been for Zach Wilson in that offense?
As bad as you could possibly imagine. Listen, what happened with Rodgers was horrific. No one expected it, especially after the preseason where he was everywhere, and he looked like he was in good shape. But the idea of them not planning for a backup and then again going through this whole Zach Wilson exercise. Hey, when he came out of BYU, everyone thought he was a good-looking prospect, but that doesn't mean anything because you know what? You still have to develop. The quarterback has to be developed in the NFL, and you never know. I mean, I can give you 50 guys who were drafted in the top 10 at quarterback who don't make it. So he has been awful. He has been past awful. He has been non-competitive. The Jets are playing without a quarterback, and they continue to back this kid. Now, I don't know why they are doing it the way they are doing it. It makes no sense. It almost defies description, and we're all puzzled by it, to be honest with you, because Salah's record now is so bad, he's going to get fired, and he's going to go down because he had this kid at quarterback. That's the reason he's going to lose his job. We're never going to know if he can coach or not because they don't play these games with a quarterback who can compete.
Now, that defense is good, though, right? It just, I mean, if the offense is, it's not great.
It talks too much. It talks too much. It's got some weaknesses. It has some real strengths. It's a very good defense. It's not a great defense. It talks great, but it doesn't play great. It's also on the field way, way too much. And you know this, when a defense knows that it is going to be going right back out on the field and that the offense has no chance of scoring, it demoralizes the defense. It just does. And that's another thing. Salah's about to lose the room because he lost it last year where the defense just gives up and starts, wanting to attack the offense. And we're back to that again because nobody on the Jets, nobody around the Jets, except their hierarchy, understands how they can be tied to this quarterback. And Joe Namath came out this week, and listen, Joe Namath is, as we know, we know he's old now, but Joe Namath is still Joe Namath, and he understands the game and he understands the position, and he just destroyed the Jets, even worse than I did. And I destroyed him pretty badly after the game. And Joe did, and, it was divided when people looked at it, but the bottom line is he was telling the truth. The guy can't play. He cannot play the position. They have got to find another answer. And I don't know that Trevor Siemian's the answer, but the bottom line is any warm body would be better than what we're looking at right now.
Mike Francesca is joining us here on KCMO in Kansas City. So, Mike, I know you watch the Chiefs from afar. You know Andy Reid from his time in Philadelphia. When you look at the ownership of this team, the GM, the coach, the quarterback, just how good, remind Kansas City how good they've got it right now compared to what you've been watching with the Jets and the Giants, for the last several years.
Listen, I was always a huge Andy supporter. I consider Andy a friend. I always knew Philly, and Philly hasn't regretted losing him because they've done very well. But it was the smartest thing the Chiefs ever did. They made the phone call within a couple hours after Andy was gone, and they grabbed him. And now he's gone from being a very good coach to a legendary coach. And when you have smart, strong people at owner, at coach, and at quarterback, you are in the golden times for your franchise. And you have that in Kansas City, and that's why you win. The three most important positions in the NFL are owner, coach, and quarterback. And when you ring the bell on all three, that's when you win big.
And now you see this Chiefs defense that's young, that's cheap, that's, probably the best defense Mahomes has had during his time. And it seems like, Mike, is that now the blueprint for the NFL going forward? Put the money in the quarterback on the offense and try to draft well on defense?
Well, the real thing is to try and win when your quarterback's on his first contract because then he's cheap. But when he gets to be expensive, it's a lot harder. And then you have to manipulate. You have to make decisions. That's why Tyreek Hill's not there anymore. You have to make decisions. To make a decision to keep the line strong and lose Hill is a very smart decision. Yes, they miss Hill. Hey, let's be honest. Hill is a great player, and he's an explosive player, and they don't have that at wide receiver. But you know what? It doesn't hold them back. Hey, the only reason the Chiefs lost the game is because Tony and Sky Moore dropped balls they shouldn't have dropped. Otherwise, the Chiefs are undefeated and on their way again. I think the Chiefs are off to another good year. I don't think there's any question about it. They have things rolling. They need Chris Jones. They need Kelsey, okay? And don't ask me about Kelsey's girlfriend, please. And because I don't care. And also, they are strong enough on both lines to get by. They're not great on the offensive line, but they're good enough. They are great when Chris Jones is motivated and in the middle of the line. And they have a wonderful quarterback and enough talent around them to win big.
When you look at what's happened up there with the Patriots, you just watched them play the Jets. What is going on with Belichick? We know you need the quarterback. We all understand that in this league. Has the game passed him by, though, Mike?
No, it hasn't. The defensive game plans are still superb. He's great at building. He's rebuilding his special teams, which failed him last year, which usually doesn't happen. But Belichick has never been great at spotting wide receivers or quarterbacks. It's just not his forte. And they need to be better in those positions. The Pats don't make enough plays downfield. In the NFL, the way it's built right now, you have to put pressure on the defense, even if it's to draw flags or to make big plays. You have to have big plays. The Pats don't get any big plays. They have 2 plays over 20 yards in 3 games. They have a chance to have – they could have won all 3 games they've played. They're 1-2. But they don't make enough big plays. In this league, you have to make 30- and 40-yard plays down the field. Look at the Bengals right now. Because of Burrow's calf injury, he can't get the ball down the field. So Chase isn't getting the ball down the field right now. Boyd's not getting the ball down the field right now. Higgins isn't getting the ball down the field right now, and that shows what's going on with Cincinnati. You must get the ball down the field to win in the NFL.
Mike Francesca is joining us. One of the things I always enjoyed when I would do, Mike's sports updates is talking a little politics with him when I was doing stuff at Fox News. Mike, did you watch that disaster of a debate last night?
Tried.
You tried?
I tried, but they lost complete control, and I'm not watching 3 people who are irrelevant anyway yelling at each other, and it was ridiculous. It was totally unwatchable. It was unlistenable, and the 3rd or 4th time that they just started yelling at each other, I left. First of all, without Trump there, it doesn't make any sense anyway. I mean, the whole thing is a joke. None of them are getting a nomination unless Trump is completely indicted in some way that keeps him from – See, I don't know how the Republican Party is going to play this. They are going to give him a nomination, I think, knowing he's going to lose the general election. I think he is unelectable right now because of what he did at the Capitol, and I think he should be unelectable. I was a Trump supporter before that. That's when we parted ways. He showed no regard for the Constitution. He showed that he only cared about himself, and he broke the law, and I don't think he should be president again. I think the best thing that could happen to this country, and I pray for it because I think the country really needs it, is to get rid of Biden and to get rid of Trump and get some new blood and younger blood running for president, and then we'd be better off. And I hope and pray that happens.
I just don't see what's the pathway, right, for either of those guys to not be there.
Listen, right now it looks like it's going to be Biden and Trump again, and I think if that happens, Biden will beat him because I think in the general, Trump has disqualified himself and he doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
He broke the law. He didn't honor the Constitution. He didn't even care about the welfare of his own vice president. He should not run for president again. His ego has him running for president again. He's being indicted all over the country. He's been run out of New York now, business-wise. I don't think it's going to end well for him. I really don't. I don't think he's going to win. He's probably going to run. Listen, if they give him a chance to run, he's going to run. I don't think there's any question about it. He loves the applause. He loves running. He loves stumping. The bottom line is, though, I think he's going to lose.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is going to be a fascinating next 15 months. We'll be following. We'll be watching Sunday night, Mike.
I don't think it's going to end pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how the Jets can score points. I think they'd have to get a bunch of turnovers, which I don't think they'll get. So, listen, I just think Kansas City's in a different league than the Jets right now when it comes to offensive football, and that'll show again in prime time. Listen, this game was made for Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes. He's not there. That's the problem.
Yeah, so true. Mike Francesca, you might be seeing a lot of Taylor Swift, unfortunately, on the TV on Sunday night, Mike, when a 30-point blowout.
Hey, my daughter is a huge Taylor Swift fan. I have got her tickets to see her many times, including last summer at MetLife. She's a wonderful businesswoman. She's a great talent, but this is a little much for me. This isn't football.
I agree. Mike Francesca, the best to ever do it on the sports radio side. Mike, thanks so much for joining us in Kansas City. Appreciate the time.
Be well, Pete. Thank you.
All right, Mike Francesca on KCMO, the Mike Francesca podcast. He's still doing that. Of course, 30-year run at WFAN, number one the entire time, did great work there. Mike and the Mad Dog was, of course, the show that really launched him there 30-plus years ago and really gave birth to sports talk radio as we know it today. Good to have him on. Mike is, and he was, a diehard Trump guy back in the day. Obviously, as you heard there, he soured on him, but he was a big Trump fan. He and I used to talk about that all the time in the studio when I was doing some of his sports updates there.